Shaking hands, no cold concrete. I checked my bank for the first time. A clean little number, and it felt like mine. I threw out the ashes, cleared off the sink. No smoke in the room, just time to think. Same old road I used to lose on. Now I wake up strong, and the hurt has moved on. I've been low, I've been gone, I've been buried too long. Now I'm looking ahead, where the pain can't belong. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my veins. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my veins. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising. Old friends calling, I let it ring out. I know what that door used to bring out. Broken sleep and a face full of shame. Now I'm stacking small wins, day by day. New shoes on the floor, new breath in my chest. I still got scars, but I passed that test. If I fall, I stand. If I bend, I grow. Had to lose that life just to find my road. I've been low, I've been gone, I've been buried too long. Now I'm looking ahead, where the pain can't belong. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my bank. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my bank. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising. I don't chase that ghost no more. I don't need that war. I got a name to protect and a life worth more. One day, one step, I keep climbing through. What was killing me then couldn't follow me through. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my bank. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising. I'm free, free from drugs, free, free. No crack in the pipe, no lighter to flick. Money in my bank, I got it in my bank. Journey, I'm rising, I'm rising, I'm rising.
What's up, guys? I just want to say thank you very much for all the support on this special. Right now, it's over 200,000 views, and that includes being almost killed for a day by YouTube. All right. So please, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Go like it. Go comment on it. And if you have watched it, watch it again and share it. I'd love for everybody to share it with 3 to 5 people you love. Do that for the holidays. Give them the gift of comedy. Share it, like it, comment, all that good stuff. Go watch it live and alive, streaming now on my YouTube. What's up, guys? The holidays are coming, and I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm just trying to get rid of the merch I have. We got quite a bit of merch left, and I just want to get rid of it, and I want to get rid of it for you guys. All right, so here's what we got going on. There's a huge, talking about fire sale, y'all, huge fire sale in the merch store on my website at ryansickler.com. We've got $10 tees and hats, $20 hoodies and pants. You got stickers in there. But listen, here's the thing. Just order, because trust me, Every order comes with a free gift, and any apparel purchase comes with 2 free gifts. All right. That's a chance to get a lot of gifts, y'all. All right. So go over to the merch shop right now. Get your $10 hoodies, night pants. I don't think there's anything more than $20 over there, honestly, in the whole entire store. So go get your stuff now. RyanSickler.com.
The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, Ryan Sickler on all your social media, RyanSickler.com. Starting this one like I start them all by saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all your love and support on my new special. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. Thank you so much. And thank you for supporting anything I do. I don't care what it is. Thank you. I love my job, and it's because of y'all. I appreciate you guys. You know what we do here? We highlight the lowlights. I always say that these are the stories behind the storytellers. I'm very excited to have this guest here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brandon Novak. Welcome to the Honeydew, Brandon Novak.
You're far too kind. I've been anticipating, and you might think I'm really fucked up, but dreaming of this day for a while. I know you're from Baltimore, and that is like, that's my heart. My heart is there.
Same. Thank you, brother. Yeah. I mean, anybody that's a Baltimore guy, like the Turnstile guys, any of them, I just gotta, you know what I mean? It's an extra love. And today's a Saturday. I can't tell you. I think Kirsten's out there. Maybe we've done 3 episodes in all our years on a Saturday.
Wow.
So if you weren't from Baltimore, I ain't doing it. I swear to God, I was like, where? Jersey? We're good.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Well, welcome here. Thank you. And before we get into anything, right there, promote everything and anything you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to find me is my website, brandonnovak.com. If you're out there and you need help, you're struggling with addiction, call me 610-314-6747. That's Redemption Addiction Treatment Center in Delaware and New Jersey as of last week. My Instagram, Brandon_Novak. Or you can pick up some of my works, Dream Seller, the newest to the family, The Streets of Baltimore.
Yeah.
And the first ever graphic novel, addiction graphic novel, that is. A lot of Lexington Market stories in here.
Is that right? It's the first ever
First
what?
ever,
Say it again?
addiction graphic novel.
Open it up.
So it's never been done before.
No one's ever done that.
No, we had
Look
this
at a history right here.
amazing
brother. Good
artist,
for you, dude. Yeah, damn.
in Germany. You know, just crazy stories that didn't fit in the timeline of the book, but we couldn't throw them away. So we're like, let's get it.
Well done.
And you know, that's
where
a
are you on
handful of
social
things.
and all that?
Brandon_Novak Instagram. Fuck, the other one's just type my name in, you'll find it.
Well, yeah, man, it's been wanting to do this for a while. So
we know a lot of the same people. We've ran in a lot of the same circles.
That's really
I was really stoked to come here and be. Actually, I stayed you're doing one on Saturday, and I stayed an extra day for this.
Thank you, brother. Well, I want to get into all your stories. I have family who work at the addiction treatment of Maryland and Dundalk, and I also have some family that have been in those treatment centers, in and out of those treatment centers.
I may have been one of those that have frequented that.
But tell me, where are you from originally? And let's get into mom and dad and siblings real quick. Just a little backstory.
No doubt. I was born in Kingsville, Maryland.
Okay.
And then we migrated to Parkville.
I love that it's migration.
It felt that way. Felt like I was going on a pilgrimage to God knows where.
We had an aunt that moved from Highlandtown to Rosedale. I mean, it was this far away. You know,
that's literally going across the country
She's
for us,
like,
dude. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I came from a pretty wild background. My father never had a job a day in his life. He ran with the Hells Angels.
Oh, okay.
And he just kind
Out of Maryland? Is there there was a Maryland chapter of Hells Angels?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And he taught me one thing, and that was if and when I went to prison, how to conduct myself.
And what was that? What are you learning that we're not?
Yeah, right. Well, this is the kind of mentality he had. For my 6th birthday, I'll never forget, he gave me a pair of chaps and a machete that I was to keep in the freezer.
Why?
Fuck it if I know.
He never said why.
No. But he's also the guy where I came home from school one day, and him and all his biker buddies were on the back porch, and he said, "Brandon, come here." And I walk over, and he has this document signed up. My name is Brandon to this point, Brandon Novak. And now I'm around 9-ish years old, and I walk out in the back, has me about to sign this document. My mother walks out literally and says, "Rome, what are you doing?" His name was Jerome. And he was about to have me sign to have my name changed from Brandon to Jerome at 8 years old. He just felt like it was the right time to change my name.
But also, does Jerome not realize that an 8-year-old signature doesn't mean shit on any legal fucking document?
That's literally, yeah, with no like recourse.
Okay, of course, a kid's gonna do that.
And
also, wait, is your dad a white dude?
He was a white guy
named Jerome.
So our
there's
claim to
not
fame.
many.
No.
There's not many white Jeromes, bro.
So if my mother would have walked out a few minutes later, you'd be talking to fucking Jerome. Which I'm not. That'd be a pretty sharp fuck. It's an attention getter for a white guy.
Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is.
My claim to fame with that is my grandfather owned the first open air produce market back in the day in East Baltimore.
Is that right?
Started out with Arabs, had the horses, had the fruit, watermelons, oranges, apples, and then they had it transitioned to this little shop to later on, it was called Novak's. And the very last episode of The Wire, remember when the little kid killed Omar?
Yep.
That was in what used to be my grandparents' produce market.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, man, that scene still resonates with me because not only because he killed Omar, but that kid, like stepping outside of it, he should have won a fucking Emmy or something. That the little kid shaking and I believed every bit that child took him out. And also, what a fucking way to go.
God,
that's Baltimore through and through.
It is.
You think the biggest, baddest motherfucker's gonna get you, and this little 9-year-old does you in a corner store. Wow.
Hence the nickname. Be more careful.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind
of body more.
Yeah, body more.
Murderland. So that store that they shot in is your grandfather's?
It was Novak's Produce.
Oh wow.
And then it turned into my father, who became a fucking insane crackhead, who kind of got power of attorney of my grandparents' deal when they were getting older and acted as a caretaker, ultimately ended up burning their house down. They also owned a house on Harford Road where they sold Christmas trees and produce after they transitioned out of the city.
Yeah, they go to the can.
Yeah. Things got better.
Yeah.
On the greener
you
pastures.
Don't leave the state. It's always funny to me when you go back and you ask somebody in Maryland where they're from. They just look at it. They don't say a city. They just go here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't say like Lutherville or something. Yeah, they just go
zip
here.
code.
Yeah.
You know, out here it's all zip code.
Yeah.
There it's
all right, God, we could talk forever. So real quick, how does your father and are your mom and dad together at the time?
Yes,
they're together. How does he get to be a Hell's Angel? What?
That's just so he was into cars. He was into cars. He was into racing. He was into that whole just kind of, and that's why I said my father would understand that.
Shit.
Total gearhead. Racing cars as a kid. Terrible accident. He had to be cut out, and they had to do a skin graft off his back to fix his leg. Just that kind of guy. My mother at the time, she got her first job at Mercy Hospital in Baltimore City.
Yeah.
And she was drawing blood for $5 a pop. So I was raised on $5 increments because my father, whose behavior was like erratic at best, and he was around enough to like let us know he wasn't around.
What's he doing to make a couple bucks though?
He's growing tons of herb in the basement of that house in Kingsville. We had an acre ranch and ranch style and running coke, a little bit of meth action.
So nothing. He ain't paying taxes.
Literally never had a job. Not even exaggerating. Never had one job in his life. Got a little sue happy throughout his career, so he would sue places and people.
Successfully? Would he get enough to just get him by?
Just to get by. And then he
slip and fall over here.
Yeah, his favorite person in life was Jerry Sukup, who was a lawyer over on Harford Road. To you and I, this makes sense. To the viewers, are like, these fucking nut jobs. But and my mother would take me on these blood runs every morning, and she would go to house to draw blood.
Oh, not at the hospital.
Okay. No, and then she would take those vials to the hospital.
Yep,
Hospital would give $5. And then she got a job with Mercy, and then ultimately worked her way up the ladder to become a nuclear physicist on the board of Mercy Hospital.
Dude, Mercy Hospital, first of all, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, a nuclear physicist is married to a Hell's Angel is a lot.
Don't tell me love won't make you do fucking anything.
I can't find somebody, goddamn it. I can't find somebody.
Well, there's a reason why I'm a 46-year-old.
It's like a NASA engineer with a fucking ditch digger. It's crazy.
There's a reason why I'm a 46-year-old single man that lives with 3 cats in the middle of the woods. Thanks, Dad.
So Mercy also was one. It might be the first hospital ever, at least in our country, where they did underwater birthing too.
Oh wow!
It's supposed to be more natural for a baby to come out because basically, I guess it's going. And look, I'm an ignorant man, but going from fluid to fluid or sac to sac, and so underwater. And they would do that in Mercy Hospital. So you can go sit in like a tub and they'll deliver your baby underwater.
Which people pay big money for, to have that done. In-home birthing or in-house birthing or whatever. You see the way they teach kids how to swim? They throw a baby into the fucking deep end.
When I had a kid, I was watching these videos. I'm like, that's crazy.
It's so
Look, here's the thing.
inhumane.
I could do that to your kid. You know what I mean?
If I'm on a flight and there's a
makes
kid
sense.
crying, I take it fucking personal. I'm like, your fucking kid's crying at me.
People are like, how could you do that to a baby? No. How could you do that to your baby? If I'm the teacher, that ain't my baby. I'm throwing them all in this motherfucking pool. You'll see.
Everyone's going to learn a lesson today.
Yeah.
Take you back to my father's way.
Okay, so mom goes all the way to the, okay, that's
Yeah.
badass.
So she
and do you have siblings?
So that gets a little fucking crazy. I have a brother who's an attorney in the White House.
No, come on.
He does like pensions and benefits and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he took mom's route.
He did.
And do you have any
and
other
then I have
siblings?
a sister, and she works in the Mercy as well.
Okay.
Doing kind of adjustments and claims and all that. And the scariest thing about this, and you'll agree after this interview's done, is that my mother says that I'm the most sane of all the family. For a little bit of context of what we're doing here today. So we went from Kingsville. And when I say we went, it wasn't voluntarily. It was one night in Kingsville. My mother woke me up, and she had her gay friend come over, and we were packing up our belongings to run from my father in the middle of the night. And then he got word that it was happening, and he came to the house in Kingsville, and he sat in a chair next to the door with a baseball bat while we carried our belongings out, and we ran to a house on Harford
And you
Road.
hear Dad coming, I'm guessing, that Harley. You hear that.
Yeah.
You
so
hear
that
him
was the
coming,
thing,
right?
Like
That's not a quiet entrance.
No, he made an entrance, and he was an impressionable
big
guy.
dude?
Not really, but he ran with those guys, and he was the life of the party. Everybody loved him except his family. Right? Straight up. Not even exaggerate. You walked in the bar, rooms, and he buy around the house of shots.
The saddest shit I've ever heard in my life.
To me, it was the most normal thing I ever said.
Right, yeah.
And everyone loved him except his father, except his family. So, and he was a great cook. So,
I mean, you better be.
he had nothing else to do. He had
You
nothing
better
but
fucking
time.
yeah. And nobody loving you. You better fucking cook.
Yeah. So my mother's out busting her ass. And, everyone's doing stuff. So he had time. And he also had to right his wrongs. So he would get caught cheating. He would run out on bar bills. He would fucking break the house up. He'd have to make a lot of meals to hopefully get my mother to forgive him. Right. So it's kind of
So did mom stay married, or did she finally hit a wall where she's like, I gotta go?
So that was the annoying thing about it, and that's where skateboarding really came into play with me. That raised me is we'd run from that house in Kingsville, and we'd move to a little house on Harford Road, then to Parkville, and I'd come home from skating, like I'd be out with Bucky Lasik and all these other Baltimore legends.
Yeah. Legends.
And I'd come home, and he'd be in the kitchen making dinner as if nothing happened, and it would infuriate me, only to kind of. And then he took a permanent residency basically at the Pappas right there on Taylor Avenue, Pappas Bar and Restaurant.
Oh, that's they have great crab cakes, bro. They got great crab cakes.
So he, basically got a residency gig there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Listen, if there's anything I've heard out of the story, I agree with so far that one right there. I'm like, I'm going to move over here too.
And I remember one night my mother waking me up and saying we have to go get the car because he would go to Pappas and he wouldn't come home. And we walked down because we lived right off Taylor Avenue, Dalesford to be exact. And we'd walk up to the parking lot and we see the car, and the car is like moving, right? And it's rocking. And we walk up to the car and it's my father with another woman.
No.
And that,
your mom's walking up on that with you guys?
And she needs a car to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was kind of
He needs it to go to work at night.
The bills have to be paid.
I guess breakfast is going to be delicious tomorrow.
and that was a reoccurring
that
theme.
sucks.
And
So you actually are seeing that. You're not hearing about that.
No, I'm seeing it. You know, so for lack of better words, I'm being groomed into what I'll later become. And it'll work to my advantage and disadvantage, because throughout that I created a lot of animosity and resentment towards a man that I thought I couldn't fucking stand, to ultimately, at the end of my story, make him look like a walk in the park. Right. And then we'd run from that. My mother sold that house, ran from him, and then we moved into Hollandtown.
Okay.
And we lived right off Eastern Avenue, right in Patterson Park. And
I was saying outside, like my Aunt Marguerite, like my city education is Highlandtown. It's 308 South Macon Street, right by the train tracks, right off Eastern Avenue.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this later, but I said my aunt moved. They were the ones that moved from Rosedale to Highlandtown to Rosedale, because my Aunt Marguerite worked at that Rite Aid on Eastern Avenue.
Yep.
And she and like 3 or 4 ladies were accused of stealing. Their money had been missing and all. They're accused of embezzling. And she's like, I'm not stealing anything. And they got an attorney. And she and these 3 ladies, the attorney's like, listen, I mean, off the record before we even start, I don't give a shit if you are.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then you really have a case.
Have something.
And she's like, they're forcing us to take a lie detector test. And she said, okay, well, if they're forcing you to do it to keep your job and you're definitely innocent, that's illegal. They can't force you to take it to keep your job. So take it. And when you pass, we got it.
Now we really have it.
And all 4 of the ladies passed. They fucking sued, bro. My aunt was the ringleader. This is 80, like 788. Okay. My Aunt Marguerite, 308 South Macon, Highlandtown, gets $1.4 million. That's like $20 million. That's like $20 million. And the other ladies all get like a 1.1. They all get a money. And it turns out the high execs were the ones embezzling, trying to blame it on these ladies to get them out.
For sure.
And my aunt figured out something, talked to an attorney, and they got them. Boom. So that's when they were like, they kept the house though. They were like, we're going to keep the house and rent it. Because she always said to me, Ryan, I'm going to die at 308 South Macon. And she actually did. When all the kids, because she had it's the same shit, man. She had her grandkids living with her because her son's an addict. They all get out there for the better school.
Yeah.
You know, we're only going this far away to Overly. And then when they were finally out of the house, she's like, I don't need this house. I'm going back there. And then she died there.
Wow.
So that's my, like, all running around there is my city education.
I love that. And the Macon Avenue Queens become millionaires.
Yeah.
I love that.
So here, I wanted to ask you too, because you talk about skateboarding, and I'm sorry to jump around, but
we probably will throughout this.
We go to
I grew up skating 215.
This is what I want to ask you. So we were huge soccer players, and there was a place called Sports Elite.
That I was gonna say that when you said on Conklin Avenue, right across from the pawn shop.
Yes,
that's where I met Bucky.
By Little Tavern.
Pat Albin. They sold soccer equipment and skating.
They sold the best soccer shit.
The Albanian guy, Pat Albin, my guy.
So my cousin would tell me all the time, Ryan, there's this fucking skater from Baltimore. He's talking about
Bucky,
who's like sick. I'm like,
the guy.
Shut the fuck up. I'm like denied it. I'm like, where's a Baltimore City kid going vert? You know? And then we go into Sports Elite one day, and I'm like, y'all got this out back?
That mini ramp. Yeah. Which only the skaters who rode for the shop could ride.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to ride
that's how I got
crazy,
Bucky. Dude. I was sponsored. So we were skating. I was skating for Reach for the Beach.
Yeah, Reach for the
County,
Beach.
Right?
Yeah, that's where we go get our Tony Hawk board in White Marsh.
Yeah, White Marsh Mall.
Yeah.
So I was out there. Before that, I rode for Clearlight, which was in Parkville area, but then Reach for the Beach. And then they got word that there was this young kid who was had a promising career possibly. So then
and man, this is not normal. You got men and women in here, same time. This is not normal. And I love the people that did this, man. This man right here, I owe him a lot, man, for my foundation. John,
man. Thank you, Marshall.
All right.
I met Marshall. Actually, it's a true story. He was in jail. We're taking a meeting down there, just like we're doing tonight. I seen him at his worst. But the miracle is he managed to pay attention, follow directions, and I watched him for 34 years come out of, he was doing life on the installment plan. No kidding. He came out, I seen what he did. Maintained his marriage, became a good father, a good husband, helped his kids finish growing up, put them through college, worked a career, retired. Now he beats me at golf. He's smarter than I am. I mean, anything's possible. For those that don't know me, I'm John Shenholzer, president and co-founder of the McShin Foundation. I'm also a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders. For me, that means I've been clean and sober over 40 years, and I've been on this journey a long time, and I invite all y'all to join us on this journey. Before I introduce the speaker, I always like to, just recognize our champions in this effort to help you not only recover from your own substance use disorders, but to give you that hope, that message of hope, and that vision that your life, what it can be like without obsessing on drug use and finding a new way to live. But Sheriff Gregory, I always got to thank you, and of course, Pam and all your staff. You do such a wonderful job here. You're always so hospitable, letting us come in here and do what we do best and carry that message of hope. And, we're just grateful for you and can't thank you enough for being a great collaborator in this effort. Would you like to say a few words to the folks tonight, or sometimes you like to say hello, goodbye? Give the sheriff a hand for welcoming us in here.
So, of course, thank you. I am grateful that we have such amazing partners, right? Because it truly does take a village. Just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to do anything and be successful. I will not get you where you want to go, but we can do anything. So I'm grateful for Marshall because, through 2022 and starting this up, we talked about connections, right? And having healthy connections. And sometimes it takes breaking connections, long-term connections, right? Family connections. You got to break those because those won't take you where you want to go. And so tonight, Marshall blessed us with process. It's a process. And you can either choose to trust this process that people are sharing with you and showing you, or you can continue the process that brought you here. So it's up to you, right? And life is hard. Life is going to continue happening. Even if you follow the process that some of these people have been on and the process that has taken them and allowed them to have long-term recovery, you're still going to have some hard days. That's just life. But I guarantee you, if you go through some of those problems while you're clean and sober, the outcome will be far better than if it was if you decided to use. So 2023, we're going to trust the process that people share with us that can lead us to long-term recovery. All right? Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff. I've been going into jails and prisons since 1982, taking meetings in like I'm doing tonight. And I've been going to every jail in this municipality practically for 20 years straight. And I've never seen a facility where the sheriff pretty much comes to every meeting we bring up in here. I've only seen her miss one time, I think, since we've been doing this. It says a lot about not only a person's character, but the sincerity in trying to bring you, some good quality hope shooting. And it's not an election year either. So that's pretty good. I think that speaks volumes. And you notice we got all of our crew and staff that comes in here that helps us. They're all in recovery. They're all peers in this space, recovering people. And they're, we are the future of recovery. Look around you. I know some of you are probably thinking, oh my God, we're screwed. No, you're not. Diversity is our strength. The only one in here not in recovery is my friend Courtney over there, the former stripper. And she I know, I figured y'all like that, but she's actually a representative from Bandon Treatment Center, and she helps a lot of people get into treatment. So If you ever find yourself needing treatment, call Courtney. Our speaker tonight, he is a friend of mine, a person I know him pretty good. He knows me pretty good. We're cut from the same cloth as far as the depth of degradation, the process of what we had to do to stay clean, and the life we currently live. He's an incredible warrior, not only in recovery himself personally, but for us in mainstream recovery. And I've actually, and I've known him a few years now, and I've seen some ups and downs. When you hear him talk, and he does like to talk, so pay close attention. He has an incredible journey. He is not scared to go up or down, okay? Trust me on this. But I think he's on a winning streak right now, and he's got great plans. He's doing great things today. And he's one of those guys, if you become his friend, he'll call you, he'll talk to you, he'll pick up the phone. So I got a lot of respect for him. I love him a lot. I'm glad to call him my friend. Let's give a warm welcome for Brandon Novak. And he came down here from Delaware just to speak to us. Thank you, my brother.
I've sat where you sit. I've thought how you're thinking. And I've felt how you feel at this exact moment. My name is Brandon. I'm an alcoholic. When I put my hands, right, I'm break it down to the most laymanest of terms so it doesn't go over anybody's fucking head. When I put my hand up and I say, hi, my name is Brandon, I'm an alcoholic, all that simply means is that I'm defiant by nature, I hate authority, and I refuse to conform. See, because I possess this job that places me in a lot of positions I don't like to be in, and it allows me to feel these feelings I don't like to feel. So thank you, Marshall. Thank you, John, for kindly suggesting to me what I could do to save my life or never end up in this penitentiary again. But I'm going to kindly suggest why you should fuck off. Because I know. Because I know. And May 25th, 2015, I found myself in a position in life where I was divinely inconvenienced in just such a manner. The God of my understanding showed up and created just a big enough gap between me and the last speedball I shot into my neck that allowed me to see what my life really looked like was, and I was no longer accepting of the outcome that I, Brandon Novak, had continuously created for myself. May 25th, 2015, I found myself as a 38-year-old homeless heroin addict who spent his days standing on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Patterson Park in Baltimore City, praying to God that that attorney who drives that burgundy Cadillac gets off at 5 p.m. as opposed to 5:30 because he pays me good money to blow me. How the fuck did I get here? 38-year-old homeless heroin addict who wants to kill himself on a daily basis. I just don't want to hurt myself in the process. I'm terrible at suicide because I keep waking up. 38-year-old homeless heroin addict who was about to walk into his 13th inpatient treatment center. I had lost count of outpatients and detoxes. My mother had bought me a plot. People had begun to take life insurance policies out on me. May 23rd, 2015, I came to after being on life support for 7 days at Mercy Hospital in Baltimore City. I had been medevaced to 4 different hospitals in 4 different states from 4 different overdoses. At the very beginning of my run, my mother, God bless her soul, she used to get on her knees and she used to pray to God, please, God, don't let tonight be the night that I finally receive that call that my son's succumbed to his addiction and he's no longer with us. Please, God, do not let tonight be the night that I receive that call.
to, at the end of my run, my mother getting on her very same knees, praying to the very same God, please, God, let tonight be the night that I finally receive that call. Please let tonight be the night that I get that call so I can, for once and all, know that my son will forever be safe and at peace. At 38 years old, I found myself walking into my 13th inpatient treatment center. Everything that I owned consisted of 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, stick of deodorant, fit into a bag that doubles my pillow, a needle, a spoon, and a restraining order. And it was at that very moment that I came to the realization that you know what I do know is that I don't fucking know. And my very best thinking at best has me sitting in a chair like this while being monitored by a bunch of staff, listening to a cautionary tale such as myself. That's the best that I come up with. And maybe Marshall and John did have an idea what they were talking about. How the fuck did I get here? How did I get here? What I've learned is that my life is all in retrospect, lived forward and learned backwards. So what I know to be true today, the man that ended up as a 38-year-old homeless heroin addict walking into his 13th inpatient treatment center, how did I get here? I got here because I sat there with a closed mind and a closed heart, comparing out, proving a point why I didn't belong. This was just an overreaction at best. You caught me at a bad time on a bad way and a bad day. Tomorrow is going to be different. Strap me up to a polygraph. I will have every police officer in Virginia pat me on the back saying, Mr. Novak, we wish everyone was as honest as you. If that were the case, the world would be a safer place to live in. Because I mean it. Tomorrow is going to be different. Next month's going to be different. I'm not coming back. But unfortunately, I wake up tomorrow to repeat yesterday's actions, and I'm stuck in Groundhog's Day for the next 20 fucking years. You heard Mercer just talk about it. So if you can relate to anything that I just shared with you, what my job, what my goal, what my mission here today before you beautiful ladies and gentlemen is to deliver my message of promise, hope, and consist of a drink or a drug in a form of attraction rather than promotion. Right? Because if you're like me, you're defiant by nature, you hate authority, refuse to conform. Might think I have an idea what I'm talking about, but you're politely telling me to fuck off because you know I get that. I understand that. That's the language that I speak. So what my job here today is to deliver this message and make it so attractive, so appealing, so desirable, so much so that you kind of like want to fuck it. Hold it. If I can get you to want what I have so bad that in turn you're willing to do anything it takes to achieve these results, then guess what? The terms of your contract have forever changed. But the unfortunate truth and reality is I cannot do this for you. Marshall cannot do this for you. John cannot do this for you. So I'm hoping to come in here and give you this message and make it look so appealing, so desirable, so attractive that you're like, you know what? It's on. I'm hoping maybe that during my brief talk, you have this moment of clarity to see what your life really looks like and you're no longer accepting of being told what to do by the sheriff. Maybe. If not, I get it because, again, I didn't know his word of the day was going to be processed, but the reality is everyone's entitled to their own process. And I'm a firm believer, and I stand true to that. Because a lot of times I believe I know what is best for each individual, and I want to control the outcome of their process. And that's not my job. That's my God's job. But what I can tell you is my story. I'm not going to come here to pretend to understand the road that you walked on to sit in the chair that you sit on, or the pain that brought you to this facility to listen to mine. I'm not going to pretend to understand your story. It's not my job and it's not my intention. But what I can do and I plan on doing is sharing with you my story. And if you can overlook the differences to find the similarities, to understand that there's maybe a connection, and maybe if you're like me and you sit here and you hear my story and you say, God damn it, thank God he found the answer for what she's looking for, because like I'm not that way. I didn't get that bad. I want you to not miss what I'm going to say. My story was not my story either in the beginning. In the beginning, treatment center number 1, number 3, number 4, number 8, number 9 was not my story. And if you're sitting here and you're saying, well, like I just sniff a little bit of blow on a Friday. I just shouldn't have been in that stolen car and it wasn't even my deal. Like, change the wording. Change the wording. Because the reality is, my problem that landed me here that shares this story with you has nothing to do with my drinking and my drugging. It's the byproduct of the real problem, which is my thinking, my attitude, and my behavior. And what I learned is that if I always did what I've always done, I'm always going to get what I always got. So until I found myself in a position where the pain became not unmanageable, because for me, unmanageable is a Monday morning. Unmanageable is a Monday morning. I personally had to find myself in a position where the pain became so ungoddamn bearable that for the first time I was willing to become open-minded just long enough to admit complete and utter defeat. And the moment that I admitted defeat, I secured the ultimate victory. And said, you know what? Maybe I don't know, but these guys who bring these meetings in regularly, that hang in the gymnasium like furniture, maybe they have an idea. Maybe I'll go talk to John and say, hey, what's that lady's deal that helps people get into treatment? What's that number that helps me with like transitioning into a safe, sober house? Maybe. If not, you have it figured out. You have a plan. I'm your number one fan. I'm your biggest supporter. I'll cheerlead you till the day is long. But my story read as this. For the better part of 18 years, I simply rearranged the furniture on the Titanic. For 18 years, I simply rearranged the furniture on the Titanic, but my ship sank every fucking time. And at treatment center number 1, number 4, number 6, it hadn't yet become my problem, right? It was my ex-fiance's fault, because if she didn't come home from work early, she wouldn't have caught me doing what I was doing. It was the judge's fault, because maybe if his wife would have kicked it out to him, he wouldn't have been in a bad mood when I stepped in front of him to sentence me. Maybe it was like the parole officer's fault because like she has a personal vendetta on me, and if she didn't piss me, I wouldn't have came up hot, which means I have to come. But for me, 38 years old, walking into my 13th facility, I realized that like looking back at my experience and my history, which generally tended to dictate my future because the behaviors never changed. 38 years old, walking into my 13th inpatient treatment center, it was very easy for me to look back and realize that the writing on the wall was from my hand. And I had attempted to get sober. I had attempted to change my life so many times that it was impossible for me to deny or justify the severity of my situation. I ran out of like it was the parole officer's fault. I ran out of it was the judge's fault. I ran out of 4 fiancés ago's fault. I ran out of it was my mother. It was the employer's fault. For the first time in my life, I actually had to become accountable for my actions and do what a man does, which is become responsible for his outcome. And I had a mentor of mine tell me very on in my journey, he said, Mr. Novak, I want you to do me a favor. Take a look at exactly where you're sitting. And if you're not happy with where you're at, take a look at who fucking put you there. And I didn't like that. That didn't really make me happy because for the first time I had to become accountable for my actions and say, you know what? Maybe if I didn't do A, I'd end up in B. And then he followed it with this. Procrastination is like masturbation. You only fuck yourself. And all I could do was look back at my life. And for the last like 22 years, I was stuck in Groundhog's Day. Because I really wanted tomorrow to be different. I believed that tomorrow was going to be different. Strap me up to that polygraph. I have every police officer pat me on the back. Mr. Novak, you're an honest man. Tomorrow is going to be different. But again, I wake up tomorrow to repeat yesterday's action. I'm stuck in Groundhog's Day for the next 18 years. And the sad reality is, if you know who I am, then cool. If you don't, I'm about to share with you some things that I did in my life that a lot of people would accredit to success, happiness, potentially in the dream of doing. The reality is the disease of addiction does not discriminate. Yale or jail, White House or the outhouse, the results are all the same. Born and raised in Baltimore City, come from a very good home, a really loving family. My mother received her first job at Mercy Hospital at the ripe young age of 15, drawing blood for $5 a pop, a phlebotomist, if you will. Worked her way up the ladder to become a nuclear physicist on the board of that hospital. Recently retired after 53 years of gainful employment, second longest employer in Mercy Hospital history. My brother wanted to be an attorney his whole life. By the time he passed the bar and graduated law school, he was literally blinded in student debt, had no idea what his next move was going to be to get himself out of the position that he had created for himself, right? Like I can relate to that. Today currently resides as an attorney in the White House practicing pensions and benefits. My father never held a job a day in his life. He taught me one thing, if and when I go to prison, how to conduct myself. Ran with the Hells Angels, rather unsavory kind of fella, if you will. He acquired the liking of crack cocaine. His body shut down. He's no longer with us today. So I came from a really good home, a loving family that did the best that they could with what they had. I knew right from wrong. I lived with that after-school special of what a drug addict or an alcoholic becomes. Because my father, Jerome, was the nicest guy in the world. Everybody loved Jerome. But when Jerome didn't come home to make dinner at 5:30 and we heard him and his biker buddies pulling at 2:30 and the keys hit the lock, we shook like leaves because we didn't know what we were in for. So I made it a point to excel at everything I did in my life to prove that I would never become that man, could not stand the ground that he walked on. Me, on the other hand, at the age of 7, I received my first skateboard. That night, my mother put me to bed. She said, Brandon, what would you like me to do with this skateboard? I said, I want it in bed with me. She said, why? I said, because if I die, I want this board to go with me. The moment that board touched my hand, I knew I was going to be a professional skateboarder. I ate it. I slept it. I dreamt it. At the age of 14, I was the first skateboarder ever in the world to be endorsed by Gatorade. They're flying me to Chicago to the Quaker Oats building where they make Gatorade at the time. They put me on a treadmill directly next to Michael Jordan, and they strap these EKGs to our chest, and they give us each Gatorade to see the effects that it has on different sports players. At 15, I'm touring the world with Tony Hawk. I'm designing my pro model for Powell Peralta. At a very young age, I'm doing some things in life that people would equate to success, happiness, potentially even dream of doing. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is A, because it's my story, and B, because it allows you to understand that against what gender you are, what color you are, how much money you have or don't have, age, race, creed, religion, lack of religion, it does not give a shit. And see, I have to say this has to be a disclaimer. Looking back, it's so easy to understand why I got my ass handed to me every time I stepped into the ring against my opponent. Because I always underestimated the opponent that I was up against. Right? I possessed this job that consists of knowing everything. They diagnosed me as an addict or an alcoholic. Yes, I understand. I get it. But like, I'm a little bit different. I can understand this thing. I got this. And for years, I underestimated the opponent that I was up against. I can't recall the first time I sniffed that line. I ate that pill. I drank that bottle. I can remember the first bag I shot, but the rest of it is kind of a blur. But what I can tell you about, as sure as the day is long, the first time that someone attempted to stand between me and my drug. And you'll hear in my story that anybody, and I mean anybody, that stands between me and it must and will go. And it's not personal. It's just business. Because the reality is I don't want to do the things that I have to do to acquire another bag, bottle, pill. But the disease I possess does not allow me the privilege to sit certain things out. So when it says it's go time, I say where. And the only thing I haven't done to acquire another bag is commit a homicide. And it's not even that like I didn't do it because I'm not cut from that cloth, which I'm not. The only reason why I never took place is because the opportunity never presented itself. And what that looked like for me was we were on a tour with a bunch of professional skateboarders, and I was in Chicago, and we were doing a demo, and I got caught with a whole bunch of drugs, and this professional skater by the name of Mike Vallely said, get rid of the drugs or get off the tour. I throw the drugs down the sewer, finish the demo, go back to the hotel. A woman drives me back to the sewer. I fish the drugs back out of the sewer. Short story long, I get caught with the drugs. I'm now kicked off the tour. Now, see, this delusional alcoholic brain that I possess that lies to me in my own voice that makes me believe the unbelievable tells me the skateboarding world needs me. It cannot go on without me, and I am an asset. The reality is the skateboarding world does not need me. It goes on quite fine without me, and I'm a liability. Unfortunately, I'm the last person to come to the understanding of that because I possess that job that consists of knowing everything. A few days later, I receive a phone call. I'm living at home with my mother and my girlfriend. My mother opens the door. She throws the phone at me. She said, Brandon, you have a call. I put the receiver to my ear. It's Mr. Tony Hawk. And he said, Brandon, we have one or two options we could do with you. We could put you into treatment. We could save your life, and you can continue to skate for Powell Peralta, or you can quit the team. From 7 to 15, 16, I ate it. I breathed it. I slept it. I dreamt it. I became it. for the first time in my life, someone's attempting to stand between me and it. I don't have a breath of fresh air in my lungs when I said I quit. The disconnection from reality that's already taken place at the ripe young age of 16 is insane, and I haven't even entered into my first institution and or treatment center. The abnormal's already become the normal, and I'm so disconnected from reality that I don't even see it. My mother's a nuclear physicist. My brother's an attorney in the White House. My father dies a direct result of disease of addiction. First skateboarder endorsed by Gatorade, doing these commercials with Michael Jordan, touring the world with Tony Hawk. Have done some things in life people will credit to success, happiness, potentially even dream of doing. The reality of what my life really looks like is I've now been in 8 inpatient treatment centers. I've lost count of outpatients and detoxes. Now I trip and I fall into these movies, Jackass, and these TV shows called Viva La Bam. And now see, the people of Paramount Pictures in California, they say if we book him the flight, will he make the flight? Let's say we book him the flight and he makes the flight. What condition will he be in when he gets here? Let's say we book him the flight and he actually makes the flight. It's the same thing that's going to happen as it did last time. We have to kick the bathroom door down at Paramount Studios and find him dead on the ground with a needle in his arm. See, my delusional alcoholic brain, the one that lies to me in my own voice, that makes me believe the unbelievable, tells me the jackass world needs me. It cannot go on without me, and I am an asset. The reality is it goes on quite fine without me, and I'm a liability. It does not need me. But unfortunately, I'm the last person to recognize that. Now my paychecks are being diverted to my second ex-fiance. See, because they have a pattern of like trying to love my addiction out of me. They continue to stand between me and it, and they have to go. And although I truly love them, it's not personal, it's just business. I come up with a great idea. This plan's going to work. See, I've told you I've been in 8 inpatient treatment centers. I've lost count of outpatients and detoxes. I'm no fool by any means. I pride myself on being an outside-the-box thinker. And anybody sitting in this cafeteria that suffers with alcoholism and or addiction, I don't believe that we got here because we took the short bus to school. Quite the contrary. I believe that we get here because we're too smart for our own fucking good. But we'll sit in these chairs listening to someone such as myself or John share their message, and we'll outthink ourselves right out of the help that we're receiving. I'm not going back to treatment center number 9. What's the point? What's number 9 going to tell me that 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 is missed? Why waste my or your time? I'm cool, John, but I have a plan, and this plan is going to work. I'm going to move to Helsinki, Finland. It's literally across the world. They don't even speak my language. I'm going to go there. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to rebrand. I'm going to reassess. I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to redo my life because I do not like the results that my life is giving me here in Baltimore, Maryland, or Westchester, Pennsylvania. My mother used to tell me as a child, show me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. Which then transcended to me believing that social acceptability equals personal recovery. Right? So how you see me, how you view me has to be how I'm doing. As long as the account is high enough, the home is big enough, the woman is pretty enough, and the car is new enough, and you tell me how great I look, then I got to be doing good. There's a pattern here. Don't lose me. The point that I'm making is for so many years, I tried to fill this internal void with an external solution, meaning money, property, or prestige. And it stemmed from a child when my mother instilled in me, show me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. So I decide I'm going to move to Helsinki, Finland. I go to Philadelphia Airport. I board the next flight to Helsinki. I have a car service pick me up from the airport. They take me to the Ritz-Carlton of Helsinki because, like, what junkie stays in the Ritz-Carlton? Show me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. Social acceptability equals personal recovery. I get to the Ritz-Carlton of Helsinki. I check in. They take my luggage to my room. I beeline it to the lobby bar. I'm passing these businessmen in these expensive suits having meetings in different languages. I go right to the bar and I order a glass of wine followed by a second. There's now 4 glasses of wine that come in a bottle. I've graduated to the bottle. I meet a gentleman at the bar. He slides me a phone number. I now have black tar heroin being delivered to me in abundance. I go into the bathroom, I'm doing what I do, and I call my sponsor, one of those people that one of those guys like John suggested I get because they kind of had a better way of living life than I did. And I called my sponsor, Lex, and I said, Lex, how did this happen? I was not supposed to do what I was doing in Baltimore or Westchester in Helsinki, Finland. How did this happen? He said, if you have a second, I'd like to share with you something. But I know you're a very busy man with a really full itinerary, and after all, these international calls can become quite pricey. I said, what, Lex? He said, I guess you skimmed over the part in the book where we talked about geographical change not equating to recovery. You can't shake your shadow. You take you with you everywhere you go. I put you in Finland, you shoot dope. I put you in a cafeteria of a jail in Virginia, you shoot dope. Your baby's born, you shoot dope. Your mother dies, you shoot dope. These people, these recovery advocates throw around these words called triggers. Triggers are when my eyelids open. I will justify why any time, place, feeling, or sensation makes sense to get high over. This is my story. I can't tell you yours. He said, if you have another second, I'd like to share with you something else, but I do know you're a very busy man, Mr. Novak, with a really full itinerary, and these international calls become quite pricey. I said, what, Lex? He said, I want you to stop what you're doing. Take that thing out of your arm, lift your head up, stare directly into the mirror in front of your face and tell me what you see. He said, better yet, don't say a fucking word. I'm going to tell you what you see. You are staring directly into the eyes of your problem. You are your problem. And for one of the handful of moments of time in life, you're allowing me to stand between your solution, your answer, which is your drink, your drug. And at this very moment, you feel like a stranger in your own skin. And you're trying to figure out who the fuck lets you in and why. And see, this delusional alcoholic brain that I possess, this one that lies to me in my own voice, that makes me believe the unbelievable, is really good at creating these delusional narratives that are not real. It's very good at creating these fake scenarios, these fake worlds that are not real, but only support and enable my relapsed behavior as long as I'm headed towards a drink or a drug. So at that very moment, I said, you know what, Lex, these international calls are quite pricey. Because he didn't give me the answer that I was looking for. And with that, I go right to the concierge desk. They get my luggage out of my room. They bring it back. I'm now headed back to Helsinki Airport on a flight back to Philadelphia. Why? Because Finland is the problem. My mother's a nuclear physicist. My brother's an attorney in the White House. My father died as a direct result of the disease of addiction. First skateboarder endorsed by Gatorade, doing a commercial with Michael Jordan, touring the world with Tony Hawk. Tripped and fell into these movies called Jackass that break box office records every time they step foot in. TV show called Viva La Bam that is universally insanely successful. Had done some things in life that people would equate to success, happiness, potentially even dream of doing. But the reality of what my story looks like at this point in my life, I've now been in 11 inpatient treatment centers. I've lost count of outpatients and detoxes. My mother has bought me a plot. People have already taken life insurance policies out of me. I'm about to. I'm not there yet, but I'm headed in the direction of waking up on life support for 7 days. I've been medevaced to 4 different hospitals in 4 different states from 4 different overdoses. My mother has sold 3 homes to pay for me to go to 2 different treatment centers. I am that guy that's been deemed unhelpable and unfixable. Everyone in my life that loves me believe it's best that I stay real far away. How the fuck did I get here? I got here because I sat there with a closed mind and a closed heart, comparing out, proving a point why I didn't belong, focusing only on the differences, not the similarities, all while possessing this job that consists of knowing everything, being defiant by nature, hating authority, never going to conform. I have no high school diploma. At this point in my life, I have not received a GED. I told you, anybody suffering with this disease, I don't believe we get here because we took the short bus to school. I decide at this point in my life, I'm going to write a book. I'm not going back to treatment center number 12. What's the point? I have a new plan, and my new plan consists of writing a book. I go to the library, I get this book of an author that I really respect and like, and I copy the outline of how his book is written. Pen to paper, I write 12 chapters. I have a co-author with a really, really intelligent title, and he has letters in front and behind his name. I hand 12 chapters to him. He turns 12 chapters into 23 chapters. Acquire a literary agent. They shop my manuscript around. A whole lot of no's, a few yeses. We come to an agreement with Kensington Publishers, Citadel Press. I'm now a published author. A published author, a man who's written an autobiography addiction memoir. And not like the self-published, pay a few grand, have somebody ghostwrite your story. You can buy my work at Barnes & Noble. This book becomes wildly successful. I'm now receiving hundreds of thousands of pieces of mail from people all over the world saying, Novak, I read your book. I didn't want my story to get as bad as yours. I have 30 days. This book becomes a New York Times top 10 seller. I'm now a published author who's written an autobiography addiction memoir with no GED or high school diploma. Ultimately, a few years later, because I still possessed that job that consisted of knowing everything and didn't realize or wasn't willing to accept responsibility of how bad my disease of my alcoholism became, I ended up incarcerated in a facility very similar to this, and I acquired my GED in the penitentiary. My mother's a nuclear physicist. My brother's an attorney in the White House. My father dies as a direct result of the disease of addiction. First skateboarder endorsed by Gatorade, doing a commercial with Michael Jordan, touring the world with Tony Hawk. In these movies that break box office records. TV show wildly successful. New York Times top 10 selling author, has written an autobiography addiction memoir. have done some things in life people equate to success, happiness, potentially even dream of doing. The night my book's being released in Times Square in New York City, my literary agents there, my publishers there, my managers there, all these very well-to-do people in the scholarly world show up for this event. I don't have any dope that day. I have a friend of mine with me from Baltimore. He's sitting over there, I'm sitting here, and we don't feel good. And all of a sudden they wheel my books in on this dolly in these boxes. And me and my buddy, we don't say a word, but we look at each other and we have that complete conversation, that language of the heart untreated. In uniform precision, he stands up, I stand up. We march over. I steal 2 boxes of my books. He steals 2 boxes of my books. We've now just stolen 4 boxes of my own addiction memoir books from my own book release signing in New York City in Times Square. We jump on the train. We take those books back to Baltimore. We sell the books. We get the money. We buy the dope. How the fuck did I get here? How the fuck did I get here? I got here because I sat there with a closed mind and a closed heart, focusing only on the differences, not the similarities. Because I possess this job that consists of knowing everything. Defiant by nature, hating authority, refusing to conform, definitely will not accept help from these nut jobs. I'm not buying what they're selling. I'm not drinking their Kool-Aid. I know. We sell the books, we shoot the dope. He goes his way in Baltimore. I get on a train and I go back to Philadelphia, back to Westchester, get to my fiance and my home. And a common theme in my story is that the lock stopped working. I get to my door, I put the key in the lock no longer works, so I do the best thing I do, I kick the door in. Right? The abnormals become the normal. I'm living on that animalistic level where I merely live to use and use to live. So why would I not kick the door in, right? I go upstairs. The whole place is completely empty. She had taken our furniture. She had taken our paintings. She had taken our cats. She had taken her clothes, my clothes. And I find myself on the floor lying in a fetal position, crying uncontrollably. And at that moment, the realization hits me that this home is now a spitting image of what I have become. This big empty shell of a house now consoles this big empty shell of a man lying on the floor in the fetal position, crying uncontrollably. And at that very moment, my phone goes off. And it's my mother. And my mother is the most important person in this world to me. She's loved me when I didn't love myself. She's prayed for me when I didn't pray for myself. She's fed me when I didn't feed myself. She's washed me when I didn't wash myself. She'd come and wait in the visiting line to sit in the cafeteria to see me at every stop I had. That woman never missed a chance to see me. And yes, we're in Virginia, but some people in this auditorium might remember around 8 years ago, Baltimore City, the police killed a young black man by the name of Freddie Gray. That incident occurred about 12 blocks from where my mother lives. And at that moment in time in Baltimore City, it turned into the movie The Purge. They were rioting, they were looting, they were burning blocks down, they were burning police cars down. They instilled an 8 o'clock curfew. No one was to be on the streets past 8 p.m. They brought the National Guard in that stood on every other corner with a machine gun and a tank. And my mother cried. She called me crying uncontrollably. She said, "Brandon, please make sure I'm safe. Please come home and take care of me." There wasn't a second thought of what I was going to do. In theory, I was going to get up, get off that floor, go to 30th Street Station, catch the next train back to Baltimore, and make sure she was humanly safe as possible. There was no doubt in my mind that's what I was going to do. In theory, that was the plan. In reality, my disease said, bitch, that's real cute. Bitch, that's a real cute plan, but let me show you what your actions are really gonna look like. You're gonna jump on that train. You're gonna go back. She's going to take to sleeping on the sofa in the living room directly next to the front door because, see, when I shoot dope, I chain smoke. And when I shoot dope and chain smoke, I fall asleep. And she's in fear that I'm going to catch her house on fire. So her next best thought is if I'm shooting dope and chain smoking in her bedroom, I catch the house on fire. She's sleeping on the couch directly next to the front door. She could probably make it out alive. Every morning, 4:30 a.m., my eyes open religiously, not because I set an alarm clock or I have a watch that tells my disease said, get up, boy, get up. Every morning at 4:30, I would gently open her bedroom door. I would slowly sneak down those stairs, and I knew exactly what step to step on because, God forbid, I stepped on the wrong step. It made a creak as she woke up and said, Brandon, can you make me something to eat? Not right fucking now. Not right now. This is not personal. It's just business. And I would get to the bottom of those stairs, and I would get on all four, and I would army crawl over to her bed, AKA the living room couch. This hand would grab her purse, and this hand would hold the bell that she attached to her purse because, God forbid, that bell rang, and she said, what are you doing? Don't fucking ask. Not right now. Don't ask. And every day without fail, I would take her debit card and I'd hit the bodega and I'd get $180. 3 months straight. And one day I got back to her house and I attempted to put the key in the lock. The lock no longer worked. Now, I love my mother. I would never kick her door in, but I have no problem making her sleep on the sofa in fear for her life, right? You see the disconnection from reality? The abnormals far become the normal. So I politely knock on the door, and with that, my hotshot attorney brother from DC comes to the door with my mother. He drove down from DC to physically walk her up into that bedroom that I took from her to see how I was living, because what mother wants to watch their son kill themselves on a layaway plan, one bag at a time? She chose to turn a blind eye. And when my brother walked her up into that bedroom, it looked like a murder scene. There's blood on the walls, blood on the ceilings, the needles, the cookers, the bags. If you can't relate, thank God. If you can relate, then you can relate. And remember, my story was not my story either in the beginning. So with that, I knock on the door. My brother escorts my mother to the front. She opens the door, crying uncontrollably. And all I could do is look at her and say, Mom, do you hate me? Do you hate me? And she said, no, sweetheart, I do not hate you. But I will no longer love you to death. You have to go. My mother's a nuclear physicist. My brother's an attorney in the White House. My father died as a direct result of the disease of addiction. First skateboarder endorsed by Gatorade, doing a commercial with Michael Jordan, touring the world with Tony Hawk, bending these movies that break box office records, TV show wildly successful, New York Times top 10 selling author who's written an autobiography addiction memoir. May 25th, 2015, I'm standing on my mother's front stoop in Baltimore City. A 38-year-old homeless heroin addict who wants to kill himself on a daily basis. I'm just terrified to hurt myself in the process. With that, my brother hands me everything in this world that I own. 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, stick of deodorant, fits into that bag that doubles as my pillow, a needle, a spoon. And with that, yours truly, one of these guys come pulling around the corner. They said, are you Mr. Novak? I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, this is for you. I promise you, the next time I catch you on your mother's premises, it will not be so nice. I'm a 38-year-old homeless heroin addict standing on the stoop of my mother's house. Everything I own consists of 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, stick of deodorant, a needle, a spoon, and now a restraining order. How the fuck did I get here? My days are spent standing on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Patterson Park, prostituting my body to secure enough money to acquire another bag of dope. How did I get here? I've been in 12 inpatient treatment centers. I've lost count of outpatients and detoxes. My mother has bought me a plot. Medevaced 4 different hospitals in 4 different states for 4 different overdoses. My mother, God blesses her soul, gets on her knees and she prays to God, please, God, let tonight be the night that I receive that call that he's finally dead so I can know he's at peace for once and all. How did I get here? I got here because I sat there with a closed mind and a closed heart, comparing out, focusing only on the differences, not the similarities. Possessing that job that consists of knowing everything. Being defiant by nature, hating authority, refusing to conform, because what the fuck do they know? And at that very moment, I receive a DM. And it's this woman from Florida. And she said, hey, Novak, I read your book and it saved my life, and I could care less because I don't want mine. She said, what do you say about an all-exclusive paid trip to Fort Lauderdale? I said, that's great. I need some heroin, some cocaine, some Xanax, and some wine. She says, no problem. That's red flag number 1. My book saved her life, but she's going to get me substances that kill mine. I don't care. I do a little bit more research. I realize she lives in a hotel. That's not a good look either. I do a little bit more research. I realize she's like a dancer or a lady of the night. 2 things I do not have a problem with because I've seen me become both of them for $10. She has 2 requirements that I must fulfill when I touch down in Fort Lauderdale. When I get there, she wants to party and she wants to fuck. And I don't know about anybody in this auditorium, but when I shoot dope, I do neither. I sleep. So I know that I'm about to wear my welcome out really fast, pun intended. The reality is I don't want to go to Fort Lauderdale. It's hot, it's sandy, I don't know the hustles. And what I forgot to share with you is that I have an appointment tomorrow morning with my parole officer at 8:30 a.m. I'm supposed to be in his office. I'm supposed to be in Pennsylvania. I'm not supposed to leave the state of Pennsylvania. I'm supposed to be sober, and I'm supposed to produce a clean urine for him at 8:30 in the morning. This delusional alcoholic brain that I possess that lies to me in my own voice, that makes me believe the unbelievable, tells me this. Don't worry, get dressed accordingly, hurry up, get to the airport, catch this red-eye flight, get to Fort Lauderdale, get what you need from her, and you'll make it back in plenty of time to produce this clean urine. I'm laughing at you for not understanding why my plan doesn't seem like it's going to work. You understand what I'm saying? The disconnection from reality is so insane that the abnormal has become the normal, and I believe that I can successfully pull that off. Even with a private jet at my disposal, I cannot beat this urinalysis. And see, my parole officer's name is Matt Pfeiffer. His nickname is Maximount Matt, to give you an understanding of the kind of guy that I'm working with. You spell your name wrong, you're going back. It's hot, it's sandy, I don't know the hustles. I'm supposed to produce my urine from in the morning, so time is of the essence. So I get dressed accordingly, because when I do make it back to see Matt, I gotta look good, right? If I look good, I gotta be doing good. But I'm a homeless heroin addict at this point, so I put these at once point in time, nice pair of dress slacks on if you overlook the cigarette hole burns. I'm a homeless addict. I don't like wear underwear, let alone wash them or find a dresser in an alley to take care. That's not what I do. I put this nice button-up shirt on, and I had these at one point in time, nice pair of Brooks Brothers shoes, but I lost a shoestring along the way, if you can relate. I go into West Baltimore to cop from the boys. On this particular night, it got a little too late, and the shop that I usually deal with had went in. These boys saw fit to rob me as opposed to serve me. So when they robbed me, they ripped my front and my back pockets completely out. Now I'm exposed, no underwear on. They ripped my shirt open. The only button that stays buttoned is this very top button. I got these shoes on with one shoestring. I'm now roaming the streets of West Baltimore looking like a gay East LA Cholo gangbanger. I told you all I own is 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, stick of deodorant, a needle, a spoon, and restraining order. As much as I'd love to put a pair of underwear and new pants on, I don't possess that option. So I hurry up and I get to the airport because after all, I'm on a tight timeline. I get to the airport, I get up to the counter, and the woman takes one look at me. She says, "Mr. Novak, are you under the influence of anything?" I said, "Absolutely not." She said, "I believe you are, and you will not fly for 3 days." Not like the next flight out or tomorrow morning, 3 days for Christ's sakes. 2 things I've learned in my career is I will never win an argument with a judge or a TSA airport security agent. What they say goes. Remember how I started my talk off in the beginning where I said I found myself at a position where I was divinely inconvenienced in just such a manner that God of my understanding showed up and created just a big enough gap between me and the last speedball I shot into my neck to allow me to have that moment of clarity to see what my life really looked like was, and I was no longer accepting of the outcome. This is that moment. Don't miss it. This is that moment. Stories coming full circle right now. I've just been denied access to this flight. I step out of line and I call my sponsor, Lex, and I said, "Lex, I'm stranded at BWI Airport and I want to kill myself." He said, "No, what you're going to do is you're going to get on a train and you're going to come back to Philadelphia. Because you don't even know the miracle that just took place at the ticket counter, do you?" I said, "No, Lex, what?" Because I did not want to get on that flight. My heart was beating 1,000,000 miles an hour like I shot 20 kilos of cocaine. I did not want to get on that flight, but the disease from which I possess said, "Bitch, when I want to know how you feel, I'll ask. Till then, get on the plane." Lex said, "You just completely missed the miracle that happened at that counter 5 minutes ago, didn't you?" I said, "What happened?" He said, "The God of your understanding dressed up in the form of a TSA airport security agent and did for you what you could not do for yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to honor that blessing. You're going to get on this train. You're going to come back to Philadelphia. You nut jobs. I wasn't buying what you were selling. I was not drinking your Kool-Aid. Wanted no party. You're caught. You fucking sober weirdos." This is my perspective. I'm entitled to my process. You people are going to leave your cookouts. You're going to leave your loved ones. You're going to leave your family. Memorial Day 2015. You're going to show up for me when no one else did, when they felt that it was best to love me from afar. You people never gave up on me. You showed up at the train station. You picked me up. You allowed me to stay at your house. You took me to see Matt Pfeiffer, Mr. Maxim Out Matt, the next morning. He granted me one more chance. He sent me back to the same facility I had been to 4 previous attempts out of my 13 overall. Every time without fail, I'd show up at this facility, I'd sit in the chair and the intake coordinator would say, "Okay, Mr. Novak, your insurance will cover you to stay here for 90 days. And every time without fail, I'd say, in theory, 90 days sounds great, but in reality, I'm more of like a 45-day kind of fella. I got this woman to do, this job to fulfill, this state to go to, and she'd laugh at me each and every time and say, "Sweetheart, you have no idea. Anything and everything you put in front of your recovery does not or will not matter because it will go." May 25th, 2015, I found myself in a position where for the first time in my life, I had been demoralized in just such a fashion from drugs and alcohol. I had finally been beaten into that state of reasonableness to where you had my attention. My mind was becoming open-minded just long enough to say, "Hey, you weirdos, help me." And she gave me the same spiel without fail. "Okay, Mr. Novak, your insurance is going to cover you for 90 days. But for the first time in my life, and thank God, I couldn't come back with a counteroffer. Because if I said no, it entailed an explanation. And for the first time in my life, my disease of addiction literally beat me speechless. All I could do was shake my head yes, and thank God. She said, sweetheart, you're in no condition to do your intake. Get up to detox. I'll see you in 4 days. I grabbed my bag that consists of 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, stick of deodorant, needle, spoon, restraining order. I take my gay East LA cholo ass up to the detox. And I'm met by this 19-year-old tech whose name is Brian. And Brian said, Mr. Novak, you're back. I said, aren't you a fucking genius? You don't miss a beat, do you, Brian? And Brian said to me, Mr. Novak, I regret to inform you, but your clothes are not rehab oriented. You need some underwear. You need some sweatpants. You need some slides. And the fact of the matter is, remember I told you I could no longer deny the severity of my disease, of my alcoholism. And my disease does not permit me to own simple things in life like underwear and sweatpants and slides. And he said, don't worry, Mr. Novak, come with me to the basement. We're going to go to the donations room and see if we can find you some used underwear. I'm glad a few people here are on my page. My mother's a nuclear physicist. My brother's an attorney in the White House. First skateboarder to be endorsed by Gatorade, doing a commercial with Michael Jordan, touring the world with Tony Hawk, in these movies that break box office records, New York Times top 10 selling author who's written a book on addiction. May 25th, 2015, I find myself standing in the basement of a Catholic Charities rehab that costs $2 to get into, next to a 19-year-old kid named Brian as he thumbs through the donation boxes looking for some used underwear, and I'm praying to God that he fucking finds them. This is my story. I lived it, and even when I say it, it doesn't make sense. How did I get here? I got here because I have a closed mind and a closed heart, and I focus only on the differences, never accepting the similarities, possessing that job that consists of knowing everything. That's how I get here. And I'm praying to God that Brian finds me these used underwear. Please, Brian, please find these underwear. And I remember those sober nut jobs saying, a grateful addict will never use, a grateful alcoholic will never drink, and it never made sense until it made sense. May 25th, 2015, that grateful addict will never use again made sense because I found myself internally, because I could never say that out loud because, God damn it, how weak would I look? Some underwear out loud, used underwear. But what Brian did find me, a woman's tank top, size 13 Jesus sandals. I don't know how alert or attentive any of you ladies and gentlemen are, but I'm not a woman and I do not wear a size 13. But remember what I said when I would sit in these chairs and someone would share their message to me and I would outthink myself out of any sensible decision I was about to make? Same rings true for any blessings that took place, because I was so delusioned by the mess that I couldn't hear the message. So I'm here to tell you, if you're sitting in this auditorium and you have to spend your Tuesday night listening to me, A, I apologize. But B, if you're waiting for the blessing to take place, please allow me to be the first person to tell you it's already fucking happened. On that moment in time, as I'm being handed women's clothes and shoes that do not fit, there had never been a day in my life that had gotten that bad. Two things were happening at that very moment that were going to forever change my life. But I was incapable of seeing the blessings that were taking place. But I told you, my life since then, while remaining sober, has been lived forward and learned backwards. And today it's very easy for me to look back and recognize the synchronicity of life's events that have led me literally to the right here, right now, that proved to me the God of my understanding is so much bigger and has been doing for me so much longer than I could ever conceive. The very first thing that took place the moment he handed me clothes that did not belong to a man and shoes that did not fit my size was right there. I went from possessing that job that consisted of knowing everything to realizing that, you know what I do know? That I have no idea. And at that moment in time, on that day, my life had never been any worse. As Brian handed me the clothes that did not belong to me and shoes that did not fit my feet, I was overcome with a sense of willingness unlike anything a human could ever produce. And what I know to be true, at that very moment, I was met by the God of my understanding face to face as a direct result of that gift of desperation. My pain at that moment turned into my purpose, unbeknownst to me. I took the women's clothes, the shoes that did not fit. I went upstairs. I got a shower. I got that Baltimore City smell off me. Never so excited to wear women's clothing in my life. I successfully, for the first time in my life, completed that 90-day inpatient treatment center. And the things they taught me were like, I could change my world. And that one day, my defects, the very same thing that kill me on a layaway plan, one bag, one bottle, one pipe, one line at a time, could become my asset. The very same thing these sober weirdos invite me out to a penitentiary to share my message of promise, hope, and freedom in a form of attraction rather than promotion. So when I'm done talking, God willing, someone from this audience will say, if that motherfucker can do it, there's no reason why I can't. From that 90-day facility, I moved into a sober living house where I lived for 1 year. 9 months into my process of sobriety, my mother, the woman that bought me a plot, the woman that served me with a restraining order, the woman that sold 3 homes to pay for me to go to 2 different treatment centers, the very same woman that prayed for my death, she called me 9 months into my process of sobriety and she said, Brandon, I hate when you come back to Baltimore to visit me. I said, why? She said, because I get so sad when you leave. 2 months shy of my 2-year sober birthday, I signed my release papers. From 18 to 38, I was on parole or probation. It simply followed me from city to city to state to state. 2 months shy of my 2-year sober anniversary, I signed my release papers. Today, I'm a free man that can go anywhere with anybody and do anything I like. I no longer reside in that self-induced prison that consists of a 4-block radius that cost me $10 to get out of, 1 bag, 1 bottle, 1 line, 1 needle, 1 pipe at a time. On my 3rd year anniversary, I bought a home. On my 4th year anniversary, I went to Amsterdam to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and picked up my 4-year medallion. Most people do not equate Amsterdam and recovery. But as a direct result of the spiritual experience that I've received, I'm a free man that can go anywhere with anybody, anytime I like. And at this very moment, I am no longer tempted by a drink or a drug. Why? Because I'm proactive in my sobriety and I understand, recognize, and appreciate that I suffer with a disease called alcoholism, not alcoholism. And I cannot stay sober on yesterday's sobriety. My sobriety has a shelf life of 24 hours. So I do a few simple things along the day to maintain my sobriety. On my 5th year anniversary, These sober weirdos, they kept telling me in order for me to keep what I have to give it away. And I told you about that sober living house that I lived in for 1 year. That house did for me what no other place was ever capable of producing. So I took heed to what my mentors told me, and I created my very first men's sober living house called Novak's House. And at that moment, I had one house with 10 beds. Today, I have 4 houses with 40 beds. And my mission statement is to never let institutional bit or inpatient treatment center along their journey of sobriety. So I travel all over the nation and I raise all kinds of money. So if one of you men, and I'm sorry, women, I don't have women's housing, any man in here is successfully completing their term and time here and want to continue on your journey in a safe, structured home in Wilmington, Delaware, and I have a bed available, it will be yours at no cost. May 25th, 2022, I've just celebrated 7 years of continuous sobriety. What I've learned along my journey, is that the disease of addiction is not a death sentence. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late. Your history does not have to dictate your future, but it can most certainly guide and direct it. I honest to God mean this when I say this. Sobriety has truly given me everything that drugs and alcohol ever promised me. I'm going to close with this story. There's a father that works from home, and this father is swamped with paperwork, and he's watching his child. And his child keeps banging his dad on the knee. Dad, take me out to play, take me out to play. The father's swamped in paperwork. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get this work finished, and he walks into his office, and in his office on his desk, he sees a big picture of a puzzle of the world map. The father walks over to the desk. He completely dismantles the picture of the puzzle of the world map, throws it on the floor in hundreds of pieces. He said, son, when you put the picture of the puzzle of the world map back together, I'll take you out to play. He leaves that office surely thinking he bought 2 4-days, no questions asked. 2 hours later, that son comes back. Dad, I did it. Dad, I did it. Dad's thinking to himself, impossible. He walks back into that office as sure as the day is long, the picture of the puzzle of the world maps put back together. Father, in complete disbelief, said, son, how'd you do it? Son, how did you do it? Son looks at dad and laughs. He said, Dad, it was simple. Dad, it was simple. Dad, it was so simple. On the back of the picture of the puzzle of the world map was a picture of a man. I put the man back together. The world fell back in place.
You know what I found out? I did the math. You 45.
Yeah.
Hey, old man. Hell, you almost old as I am. We ran late. 1 or 2 questions, maybe. Thoughts? Marshall, you up? How'd y'all like it?
Hello?
He got a good memory, don't he? Man, he repeats himself a lot, don't he? But you know what? I've heard him speak, I bet 20 times in person. Usually it's a 20-minute, 30-minute. I'm glad I got the full Monty, but now I understand it better. And, man, if I heard anything, I heard anybody can do this. I mean, you got to think about that. So if you're wondering if this, and I love the part, you kept saying closed-minded, heart ain't in it, this don't go for me, differences, not the similarities. You know, I hope we was able to finish.
I walk in the day, never at night. Stay away from the drug areas, I'm clean. It feels good, clearly mine. No drug, it feels good. I keep my lane, I keep my head. I don't need that smoke, I don't need that mess. I'm breathing right, I'm sleeping right. I choose the peace, I choose the light. It feels good. It feels good. I'm clean, I'm clean. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good. Clearly, it feels good. I used to watch who I came around. Now I move slow with my feet on ground. No pulled in crowd, no wasted time. I want my mornings all on my side. I keep my lane, I keep my head. I don't need that smoke, I don't need that mess. I'm breathing right, I'm sleeping right. I choose the peace, I choose the light. It feels good. It feels good. I'm clean, I'm clean. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good. Clear in my mind. It feels good. Look at me now, I made it through. Same old street, but a different view. And no heavy load, no dead end lights, just open days and honest eyes.